Okay, well, welcome everybody, and thank you all for taking time out of your diary to join us for this live event. We're now live on Zoom, LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. My name is Mark Hudson, CEO of Squirrel365, and today I'm joined by my colleague Donald McCormick and our Chief Strategy Officer and Excel MVP, Australia's top Excel expert, an all-round nice guy, John Micheludis, Chief Inspirational Officer at MyExcelOnline.com. During this fun and interactive session, John will be showing you some of his top Excel tips from his latest book, 101 Top Excel Tips, to help you supercharge your Excel spreadsheets and save you a ton of time in the process. The challenge for Donald will be to take John's spreadsheets and show you how they can then easily be turned into stunning interactive web content. Now, we're recording this live event, and this will be available to you all later today. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so I encourage you to use the Q&A panel in Zoom if you're listening on YouTube or on LinkedIn, and also get involved on the chat panels, as many of you have already. Say hi, tell us where you're calling in from today. Okay, let's get started. John, Donald, the floor is yours.
1 second, guys. Hi. Okay, so here we are. You can see that well?
We can.
All right, good stuff. So we just released our latest book, 101 Best Excel Tips and Tricks, last month. And I'll start the video again. I can see myself there. Here it is here. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this, but just quickly, it's over 510 pages, lots of tips and tricks over the years we've collected. And I'm going to go through my top 10. Okay, if we go through the top 100, we'll be here all week. But you can get it on Amazon. Don't get it now, because we're going to give away 50 books at the end of this webinar. So stay at the end of the webinar so you can find out how you can get a copy of this paperback book to put to your collection. All right. So what I'm going to do is I will stop my video. You can see my screen better so people can concentrate. So here we are, the 10 tips, 1 to 10. Let's start PDF to Excel. Okay, so here we are. So new in Office 365 or Microsoft 365, as I like to change the name again, it is, you can import data from PDF to Excel. Previously, you have to copy paste or use another add-in to do that. So, with this new update, with this new version, you can actually do it. If you go to data, and let me know if you can't see my screen, I can make it bigger. If you go to data and then get data, this is a get and transform area. This is where Power Query sits, okay? Once again, when it first came in 2010, it was called Power Query, now it's called get and transform. So when people talk about Power Query, they talk about this area here, get and transform. So, you got to get data from file. You can get it from anywhere. This is another course, Power Query, database, a lot of stuff. There's just so many things here. So, we're going to get it from the PDF. All right. So here I have a PDF file that I prepared earlier. Okay, just to make it easier for you. Now, this dialog box comes up here. Okay, this is we're using Power Query at the moment, or get and transform. And then you've got options here. So you've got table 1. And it shows what's in the PDF, as you can see here. You can scroll down. This is what's in my PDF, okay? And then if we're happy with this, don't worry about this one here. They have 2 options. We're just going to use this table option here, okay? So click on that. We're happy. This is our data. Press load and then see what happens. So you put it into a new sheet here, as you can see here, table 001, and you put in the data from our PDF straight into there. So that is just awesome. So let me just go here and I'll go to the PDF that we had before. This is it here. Okay, so data from the PDF. Okay, and all I did is did that trick and then put it in here. So now you can do whatever you want with that. You can obviously delete the first row because sometimes a formatting issue, but it's pretty perfect. And then you can do summarize with pivot tables. You can do whatever you want. So just like that, it's so easy. So this is available with Office 365, the new versions, the subscription version of Excel. If you don't have this, you'll have to copy paste, In the book, we show a macro where you can do this, or you probably have to buy an add-in to do this. But anyway, this is a cool tip, so I thought I'd share it with you. So let's go on to the next one. And yeah, if you can just get one tip out of all these 10 tips, you may know 9 of them. If you get one out of this, then I've done my job. And as I said, there's over 100 tips. I'm showing my favorite 10 tips. So tip number 2, fill from 1 to 10,000. What does that mean? So we can put in a row of data from 1 to 10,000. We can do it all day, just like this, and go all the way down. We can do that, or we can just put our number in here, okay, and then go to home. Fill. You see over here under the editing group on the right hand side. Fill. Okay, our buddy fill. And go series. You probably see this. It's you might need to expand your screen. Okay. So this is it here. So this you fill, press columns in series. Okay. And then step value is 1, stop value is 10,000. Press OK. Bang. You see what just happened? Automatically it put in 1 to 10,000. I'm going to press Control and the down arrow. Okay, and you see that 10,000 rows down. So how cool is that? So if you have other ways, there's other ways you can do it, but this is a great way. You can do 100,000, you can do 1,000,000 all the way to the end. Really cool stuff you can do with this. Okay, so that's a cool tip here. And probably many of you don't know, I usually forget about it every couple of years. I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot about this tip. This is how you do it. So even being an MVP, being an Excel expert, you forget tips. I don't know everything at the, off the top of my memory. I'm not that much of an Excel nerd. People forget or have a life as well. But you can, these are great tips. From time to time, you're like, oh, wow, I forgot about this. That's right. This is how you do it. And these are the steps here you need to go through. Okay. And we go through this in the book as well. Okay. The step-by-step guide with screenshots as well. Okay. That's tip number 2. Did you like that in the chat box? Did you know about this? Put in 1 if you liked it. 2 if you didn't know about this tip. And 3 if you already knew about this. Okay. The chat area, let me, okay. I'll just keep on going, and then Mark can have a look at the chat area. Okay. Status bar metrics. What are these? So this status bar is at the bottom here, as you can see here, where we have our sheets at the bottom here. If you right click, you see here, average count, numerical count, minimum. It has all these metrics. When I highlight data, have a look what happens at the bottom. As soon as I go on one, there's nothing now. As soon as I click there and highlight more than one cell, it counts it. It gives me the sum, okay? So what I can do, right click, put in the average, minimum, maximum, and you see that? It gives us that. So this is great. So when you have data, you don't have to do the sum. You can just go, what's this? Let's press Control. Let's choose a few cells. What is the sum of this? 233. What's the average? Bang, on the fly. You can do calculations without putting in a formula. So as I said, this here, the status bar, the white area here below your sheets, right click in there and you have it all there. Just another world. If you're not using this, you should use it. Just going to save you with formulas and all that. And we're here about saving time, saving an hour a day, going home early to your family, to your loved ones. That's what this is all about. That's why we are here, to save you time so you don't work overtime. I used to work overtime, and you can actually leverage Excel to save you a lot of time, and you can go home early for once. Okay, so this is what this is about. Worksheet Navigator. Now, I remember when I was working in General Electric, I got a workbook and it had like 100 sheets. It's like, what is this? Why is there so many? It's like, man, dangerous. Don't have so many sheets. And I had to like scroll to the end all the way to number 100 and then go to the back. You can actually have a look here where I am. Right click in there. And this here box comes up and it'll give you all the sheets. I have 10 at the moment. Well, I have more than 10. Or you can actually go to the end. You see that? And then if I want to go to the back, right click again. Okay, let's go to here. All right. Many people don't know that. Do you know that tip? Put it in the chat box. I would love to know whether you do use this tip here. If you don't, it's going to save you time. Scrolling to 100, that's like, a second of your life. You can actually get it back. Right clicking in there and choosing anywhere you want to go to, okay? Worksheet Navigator, that is it there. Let's go to the next one. Find blank cells with color. Bang, we're using it. Okay, so when I've got a data set here and it's got blanks. When you're creating a pivot table, best practice is not to have blanks. You can actually create a pivot table, but it's just going to give you an empty cell or an empty field when you're creating a pivot table. And then people get confused. Why is that? So what you need to do because this is only, let me go through this. This is, 100 rows down. So more or less, imagine having like one that goes 100,000 rows down. How are you going to find it? I'll show you how. Control asterisk to highlight everything. Okay, we are happy? Okay, Control G, go to special. I love Control G, this is awesome. Press special, you have so many things you can do here, okay? We're gonna go to blanks, okay? So you see this, it highlights the blanks. You can see it. You can see it, it's in, in grade form, yeah? We're happy with that? Let me reduce the thing, the zoom. Okay, so we're happy, it highlights it. So we can go to the home area now, in the home area, and fill that with any color we want. You see how it does it? It fills it in. You're like, hey, I can actually see where my blank cell is. Imagine having one blank cell in 100,000 rows of data. You're going to find it pretty quickly. Okay. Now, next up is let's put in here a filter. Okay. So when you put in a filter, you can go filter by color. Wow, we can actually filter by color. So what are we filtering now? We're filtering the blank cells in this row only, in customer. How cool is that? So now you can just go in there and type in your customer, and just fill it in, whatever you like, okay? Let me just clear this and go back here. Let's go to sales, the same thing. Drop down, filter by color. These are the cells that are empty. Let's put in a value, 10, 1, 2, 3, Control Enter, fill it in there. Perfect. It fills in with 10,000 in those cells. So that is a great way to find blank cells with a color and then fill it in. Did you like this? Let me know in the chat area. All right. Fantastic. Let's go check your math with F9. So this is one of my favorite formula tips. So when you have a formula, as we do here, okay, I'll just go over there. So F2, just to open the formula. And we can actually highlight this area and press F9 on your keyboard. And it gives you the actual sum. So when you're auditing and you're writing a big formula or someone's giving you a formula and you don't know how it works, use that. Use F9. Okay, if I press enter, it's gonna hard code that. So I'm gonna press Control Z to go out of it. And again, count. I'm gonna highlight everything there and press F9. 8. We have 8. We sure do. You see that? Make sure to Control Z. In here, okay, where our formula bar is, we can actually make it bigger. And you can do it from in here as well. I like doing it from in there. F9, yeah, escape. And let's do this, F9. How cool is that? Okay, so that's how you audit your formulas. Another cool tip is when you have like a complex formula, I like to separate it. Just put in the cursor before the divide sign and press Alt and Enter, okay? And then there, Alt and Enter and press Enter. So it still works. The formula still works, as you can see here. It's just made it visibly better because if you have a lot of formulas, you can do that. And I like doing that, especially when you're doing an if formula or a nested if that has 100 different if arguments, do that. And then you can expand it all the way down and say, okay, that's how you do it. So yeah, that's another cool tip. Alt and enter. Alt and enter. All right. Tip number 6. Did you like that? Let us know in the chat. If not, start using it. If you haven't used this before, start using it. This is an awesome tip. Remove duplicates. Okay, so we can just go back to this. So Excel tables, if you don't know what they are the best thing that's been introduced in Excel. So let me just move this out of there. Okay, so this is an Excel table. Now to put in an Excel table, you've got to press Control-T. So for example, let's put in a data here. Data and just one. Whatever, highlight this, Control-T, create table. Yes, it is a table. When I go out of this, have a look up here next to help. When I click into it, table design comes up. Okay, you may have an earlier version of Excel. It may say table tools. Either way, they keep on changing it every year. It gets annoying, especially when you're creating courses. Okay, so that's where you know it's a table. All right. When you do this, you have all this stuff here. Like you can change the colors, it's so beautiful. You can do a lot of stuff here. Okay. So this is it here. This is my table here. We know it's a table. I click out of it, click into it, table design. There it is. You don't like that color? Let's change it. Okay. Remove duplicates. So one thing you have under table design, you have all these options here. Okay. So what we got here is remove duplicate, and another pop-up box will come up and it'll say, okay, which duplicates do you want to select from all the columns? No, let's unselect. I just want to remove duplicates from the customer column. Okay, so I'm just going to press customer and I want to press OK. See what happens. You got here Acme widget, Acme widget, Acme widget. They're all repeated. If I press OK, you see that? 16 duplicates values were found and removed. 8 unique items remain. There you go. That's how you remove duplicates using Excel tables. While someone comes into the dungeon, and you probably heard the big door there. So that is remove duplicates. Always use Excel tables. Even if you have, 3 rows of data, I love using Excel tables. And I will tell you why. Table row calculations is the next tip. This is the one I love. A lot of people don't know about this. Give me 1 second while I have a drink of water and I'll let you know what it is. You like Excel tables? Have you used Excel tables? Put in the chat. Let us know. Okay, so this is a table. As I said before, we're out of it. Nothing comes up. We're in of it. Table design comes up. This total row is unchecked. It should always be checked. See what happens? You get a total row. What does that mean? What's a total row? Wow. If you click in here, there's a drop down and you see what happens. Let's make it bigger for you guys. Okay. You've got all these formulas, average, count numbers, max, minimum, more functions. You can do whatever you like. You can go even more functions. So let's count 8 transactions. How cool is that? Let's find out the maximum date here. It puts it in there. Let's find out the sum of this. You see that? You don't have to put in formulas manually. You just, this drop down. You don't see, you get to click in it and it comes up. That's where the fun's at. So this is table design and total row. This is how to activate it, okay? It's inactive, it's active. It comes back in. Let me press, I clicked on here and I press tab. So I just added a new row. I'm gonna highlight this and press Control-D. When I press that, 9 gets updated, that gets updated. You don't need to update the formula. It's a structured reference. So the more data you add, it just gets updated automatically. You see that? How cool is that? I press Control-D to copy what's above. That's another tip. I use that all the time. So make sure to use total rows. Did you know about this? Probably not. A lot of people don't know about this because they don't use tables. Tables is awesome. When you're creating pivot tables, you should definitely use tables. It just makes it easier, it makes your life easier. Okay, are you happy? We're nearly there. Okay, we're nearly there. I want to go through a lot more, but we won't have an hour, so let's go to the next one. Create data entry form. Okay, so creating a data entry form, you can do it using a form. So we have here first name, last name, gender, birthday, comments. We've just added that in here earlier. And I'm going to highlight it because Control T, create a table. My table has headers. Click on that all the time. Okay, so this is it here. So now what we need to do, I've got the writing here, okay, the steps so you know how to do it, and sometimes I forget. So what we're going to do is go to File and Options, okay, and then Customize Ribbon. In this drop down here, Commands not in ribbon, choose that. Click anywhere. Press F, so it goes all the way down, okay? Form, that's all we want, okay? We want to add it in here, but we're not going to add it to the home. We're going to go into a new tab, okay? So we're going to create a new tab. Click on New Group, the form selected, press Add. This is it here, it's added in there. And the new tab, I'm going to rename it to whatever I like, Custom Form. Okay, press OK. And you see it up here, it's going to come up, okay? So there you go, Custom Form. How cool is that? You can actually customize the form to put whatever you like in there. A lot of people don't know about that. Sorry, you can customize your ribbon to put in whatever you like in there. Okay, not just the form, you can do whatever. There's so many, there's over 100 different commands you can choose from. Form is one of them. So now in the table that we have, we're going to click in here. I'm going to press Form and it comes up. Okay, first name, John Michaeludis, male, 1802, 2000. No, put my real date. Comments, Excel, MVP. If I press New, see what happens? It just fills it in. How cool is that? Yeah? Do you like that? Okay. Just fill in. You do whatever you like. In here, birthday, 1st of the 1st. He looks like he was born in the 1800s. No, just joking. You look young, Mark. Okay, press New. There we are. So that's how you do it. And you can go up here and you can actually change. I spelled it wrong. It should be Jono. Press New and it actually updates it. Anything you updated, you got this from, 01/01/2000. Okay, press New. It updates it. That's how you do a form. This is a great way to create a data entry form, okay? And you can find previous, go to next. We only have, 2 entries here. So this is a great way. If you have data entry, it's a fun way of putting data into Excel, you can actually type it in one by one, but it's boring. So did you know about this or what? Did you like it? Yes? Mark, what are people saying? I can't hear you.
Oh, there's a lot of likes here. A lot of likes here indeed.
Good stuff.
A lot of people who didn't know that existed. Yeah.
Okay.
Some OMGs as well. So that's always good to see.
I love OMGs. This, I've got this on my blog as well, and it's one of the top rated blog views because of this. People don't know how to do it. Not because people are actually searching for this. That's what they're searching how to create a data entry form. And this is how it's done. It's pretty easy. Very, very easy. You can actually customize your ribbon as I did before. You can add whatever you like, go crazy. You're bored at work, do that. That's what I used to do. I never used to do any work when I was in the corporate world. Okay, show report filter pages. The last one. All right, this is the pivot table. I'm just gonna get rid of it. This is the data that we have here. Customers, the customers here, region, order date, and sales. And when this is a table, You're learning about tables, aren't you? Hey, Johnny, that's right, because it's got table designs or table tools if you're using earlier versions of Excel. Let's create a pivot table. Summarize with pivot table, okay? We're not going to go new worksheet. We're going to go to existing worksheet because we want to put it in here, for example. Okay. All right. So it brings it up. So order date and sales. We're going to get order date and okay. So we're going to get order date in the rows. Okay. And we're going to get sales in the values area. So we've done that. Let me go back here. So in here, it automatically grouped it because you see that the dates, just normal dates, it automatically grouped it. That's another new version that came out in Excel recently. You can actually right click and ungroup it there. Or if you press group, you see what's the actual grouping is. Days, months, quarters, okay? Sorry, days and months, it's in blue. I'm going to do quarters, yeah? Because I like the quarters, that's the way they are. And in here, you can actually go in number format because the formatting is always just a bit of an issue, okay? So this is it here. So what I want to do now is I want to do a running total in or year to date. So how can we do that? Let's get the sales, okay? Let's get the sales, okay? You may have a different view. You can actually change the view from this here. People are saying, hey, I don't have that view. What's wrong? What have you done, John? You can actually change it from in there, okay? I actually like this better, so I was a little bit thrown off. Sales, you can put sales as many times into the values area, okay? It shows it again, okay? So what you can do here, a running total in or year to date, okay? So I'm gonna go value field settings, but before that, I'm just gonna do the quick number formatting. There is, okay, so that's it there, okay? So let me click on there again, value field settings. You can see this. It's got two tabs, summarize values by, sum count, average, maximum. We want show values as. Now, it says at the moment, no calculation, but do the drop down. And if you go here, running total in, click that, okay? So we want the running total in with the order date, okay? Press OK and see what's happened. It's added the 200,000, it's here, and then it's added 200,365. We're using the metrics again from before, 573. Is it correct? Yes, it is. So it's a running total in or year to date. Let's change this here. You can actually go then press year to date if you want. Done. So you've got it there. I like to put it in the middle. Okay, so you see there, it's changed to year to date. So you can do so many cool things. Like in the Academy, we've got some Academy students here. In the Academy online course that I have a pivot table course in there that has 200 different tutorials of how to use pivot tables. It was actually my first course that I created, the Extreme Pivot Table course back in 2015. And you can do so many things with pivot tables. That's just another webinar in itself, another course in itself, but you can do this. This is great, isn't it? How about if we get customers and put in the filters area? So we have all these customers here, but I want to show these customers, each customer into its own tab. How do you do that? Any question, any answers there? What you can do, go to Pivot Table Analyze. And again, you probably have here Pivot Table Tools. Okay, this is the newest version. In the older version, Tools or Options. Yeah, you probably have Options there and Design. They change it every year. So click on there anyway. Don't click on Design, click on the other one. And on the far left-hand side, we have Options. Okay, and we'll click here, Show Report Filter Pages. Now, because I put in the customer in the filters, it's giving me that option. If I put in the region, I have to select what I want to show. So it's already selected customers. I want to press OK and have a look. Put your eyes down here next to where the worksheets are. What's going to happen when I press this? Okay, let me scroll to the right. It's added. Have a look at this. It's added the individual customers with their totals quarterly and year to date in their own tab. How cool is that? Now, that is great, isn't it? People saying, how do you do that? Yeah, you actually can do that with pivot tables. Why do I know this? Because I'm a pivot table nerd. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on 1, 2, 3 with the first one and go all the way there, widget corp. I'm going to hold down the shift key and highlight it. So now it's grouped. You can see it's grouped there. Okay. So anything I do here, you know, I can make this bigger, bold, make it bigger. It's going to update all the grouped sheets. Let's ungroup it. Right click and ungroup. You see that? Ungroup. So as you can see that, the same thing has happened to everything. So that's like another bonus tip because I like you guys. So that is it there. How cool is that? You can actually do this and then you can, save it as a PDF and send it to your boss and see the stats for each of your customers or each of your salesperson or your employees, whatever you decide to put in your data. We put this in here, okay? So there's so many things you can do here. So that is it, 10 tips in 30 minutes. There's so many more tips. I hope you like this. Now, before I go on to give it over to Donald, what I have here is I've got a profit and loss statement. So you've probably seen this, Jan all the way to December. This is a financial model that, we created earlier. And we create this, we've got a course in the academy as well, where we show about financial modeling. So this is it here. And you can see it.
John, we're not seeing it at the moment. We're just seeing
Sorry. I need to, okay. Sorry, I want to do a new share and I want to go there. Bloody Zoom.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so you focus your eyes on the data. Some people know this, profit and loss statement, revenue, COGS, expenses, net earnings, Jan to December, sales. So we created this in the academy course. We've got a financial modeling course in there. And if we've got your KPIs, to the drivers, if I go to 100,000, 100, 1, 2, 3, it's going to update it. So, I can go back and forth and update it and do all the stuff like that. Change the percentages here, create a graph. It's a lot of toing and froing and it can get slow, but there is a better way. And with Squirrel365, I've been using it. It's great. You can actually take this data and create an interactive dashboard. Okay, a quick interactive dashboard without knowing any Excel skills, because doing this in Excel, you need to be an advanced user and you need to know, what's possible and spend a few hours on there. And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have hours. They want something bang, quickly. So you can actually do an interactive web content. You can do a dashboard with all this data and you can actually scroll left to right and we'll show you now how you can easily do this and change the revenue and see what happens. Are we making money? We're not making money. Especially this is great when you're doing budgets for next year or whenever you're doing budgets. So I'll pass it on to Donald and he can show you what you can do with Squirrel365.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, John. That was great. Now, one thing I wanted to say was that I've been using spreadsheets for many years. In fact, I've been using spreadsheets since spreadsheets looked like this. Many of you won't even recognize that. Those that do are probably as old as me. And I was going to say that even those tips today, many of them I didn't know. And this just shows how long it's been. So it's really quite remarkable. Great presentation, John. And I hope everybody found, and looking from the chat, a lot of value in there. But John's finished with that spreadsheet. And the challenge was to turn it into something else. And so what we changed it into is this. And this is a Squirrel output. So Squirrel is a companion product for Excel. It takes your Excel knowledge and skills and workbooks and turns them into these amazing visualizations that you can share on the web with a link in PowerPoint. And this one is in PowerPoint. So here I am in PowerPoint. Look, that was that's my next slide. I'm actually in PowerPoint. And in here, I can do what John was saying. I can change my revenue and watch it different. So my cost of goods sales, cost of goods sold ratio down there, and it changes the chart. So you can see that the numbers up here are going from red to green depending on what I'm doing and how I'm modeling it. So it's easy to create these amazing sort of calculators, interactive visualizations this is based purely on the numbers and formulas and Excel capabilities of that workbook. And what I'm going to do in about 2 minutes is to build this, to take that spreadsheet and show you how you build this. But before I do this, I just want to give you a flavor for what's possible. So here, that was in PowerPoint. This is the same thing in the web. But that's a more complicated one. I did one for a webinar a year ago. It was really simple. It was someone had created a craft calculator calculating sort of how much profit you make when you have cost of supplies, number of items you make, the hours to create, the hourly rate, and the markup. That was embedded on this woman's website, and we recreated it here with Squirrel. She would have needed a developer to do it for a website, but Squirrel does it just on Excel knowledge. Here's one we created for Amazon Web Services. You can say, well, where am I in the world? What memory is my process going to do? How many requests am I going to take? As those go up and down, you also, as I go into the free tier, things change over here. I can show my calculations. Again, all of this is possible from your Excel data. A simpler one where I just be able to slip between, I'm presenting about the solar system. So I've got various objects in the solar system. I can see their statistics. I can see their statistics in a bar chart or a pie chart or a bar when I change around here. Again, very dynamic, the ability just to sort of communicate exactly the information you want. As John said, we get into dashboards as well, so I can flick from tables to charts, look at a different region. Again, this is on the web, but I could embed this in PowerPoint or send this link to a colleague so they can comment on it. A more sophisticated dashboard, here's with some what-if calculations. Again, those are driven from Excel. Change the quarter. Maybe move from monthly to quarterly view of the data, even show comments that other people have made on the dashboard. A fun one that Timo Elliott, an ex-colleague of mine, used to use in his presentations is how long can people stand presentations at a conference for, and you can see the picture of the woman there falling off her chair. You can maybe change the settings. Again, this is like a mini application, but again, just written based on Excel skills and the ability of skills that you already have. It's nothing more than that. This is a more serious one, a Smartsheet. A Smartsheet is an online sort of collaboration tool, and this was a little study as to how it was effective and in terms of how much it's present value that you get from using it. Something that they wanted there. Right down to the very simplest, the body mass index calculator. You can create this, and as I say, all of this is just another incarnation of your workbooks and your spreadsheets. Here's one embedded, a customer of ours who embeds them on their website. So this is Future Metrics. They do energy consulting, and if I click on this, this is the same thing, but now it's just embedded in their website where I can talk about what's happening in as I move from coal to wood pellets, and what happens and what the mix is and how I can do this and how I can save money and save my carbon footprint. So that's there. So those are just a fraction of the things that you can actually do with this. So what I promised was I would show you from scratch how you create one of these. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in that spreadsheet, that XLX file, if I've got that the right way around, this one here that John showed you earlier. It's exactly the same. We'll see it actually inside Squirrel. It's exactly the same. I've got access to all the formulas in here that John was showing you. I can make changes in here if I need to as I'm creating my Squirrel project, but if I do, then I can export it back out. So it's read write from Excel. So we're not sort of, it's many people for things like this will say, oh, come out of Excel, leave Excel behind. It's not, Squirrel's not like that. You absolutely stay in Excel, stay with your Excel formula, stay with your Excel and spreadsheet knowledge and leverage that. So let's say we want to add a chart on here, and the magic of Squirrel is that, yes, I could type my chart title in here, but I can also get it from the spreadsheet by pressing that connect button. So I've connected that to a value in the spreadsheet, and there it goes there. Maybe put that in the center. I'm going to turn off the subtitle, but then I want some data in here. So I'm going to say this is going to be, again, sort of my income data. I don't know what I call that. And then I'm going to say it's this set of data here. So suddenly that's my chart. Maybe make the bars to auto size. It's got these strange A to 0 labels on it. That's easy to change. I just go and bind it to if I go up to the top here and bind it to my months. And there I have my chart. Now I've got these X and Y axis titles. I probably don't want those, so I'll turn them off because it's pretty obvious what they are. And there I have my chart. So it's a chart on Excel data. not the most remarkable thing, but the remarkable thing happens now. What I can do is I can take a slider here very quickly and easily and say this slider is going to be a percentage, and I'm going to bind it to one of those drivers that John was talking about, and it's going to be revenue growth. And I'm going to say that it's going to step in increments of 1%. And then actually I'm going to cut and paste that to give me a second one. And I'm going to connect that one up to the cost of goods sales that I was showing you earlier, cost of goods sold. So now I've got these two there, and immediately I can trade on this logic in my spreadsheet. If I come and preview this, what we see is as we move these, my chart changes. I've got an interaction, all those interactive things that you saw me doing before in all those examples. That's how they work. It's just binding to spreadsheet logic. And so I can take these, put these down here. Maybe I want the numbers as well, so I can see what's happening there. So I can come in and select my table. I've got a summary table that just adds up the months into quarters. And hey presto, I've got it in here. I'm going to style it so that I don't show the underlying spreadsheet styling. So there I go. I'll come and preview this. Now I've got that there, and you can see the numbers are also changing in the table, so I can see that as I go there. And then one of the other things we added to the finished one that you saw earlier was a text number. So I can put a text label on here, but again, I can bind this to the spreadsheet. So I've got some key numbers, some key performance indicators, and I can add just an excess. You want a different piece of text, you're just using Excel skills. So I'm going to say that equal to that piece of text and a space and the text. So I'm going to format this. So the text of that, and I'm going to format it as a percentage with 1 decimal place, which is exactly what you would do in Excel. So I've got it here. And in fact, if I export that out, it's just an Excel sheet. It will export it as an Excel thing. So I'm now going to bind that into there. And so now I've got my big key performance indicator. And so then I can make that much bigger. And then maybe make the background color black so that it stands out. And then make this there. But more than that, what I can do is I want to change the color of that. And I've got a target here. So what I'm going to say, again, another Excel formula, if this is greater than this, that's good. So I'm going to say green. Oh, I can spell properly. Green, otherwise red. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the color of this text and bind it to that formula. So I've connected it up to that formula. So now it's green. So now what I do if I preview this, as my cost of goods sales goes up, watch what happens up there. It goes red and goes green. So again, all that dynamic interactivity that you saw it comes from just doing this. And if I now publish this, I want to share this. All I have to do is let's come here and I say webinar project. So I'm going to publish that up to the cloud. And that publishes to the Squirrel Cloud, and it's immediately available to embed in PowerPoint as you saw before, or share as a web link. So what I can do here is I can come in here, I can move that to live. So that's now a live project that I can share with other people. And then I get sharing options, and I'm going to copy that web link. And what I'll do here is I will put that there in the chat panel. Now, if you click on that, I just created that like 15 seconds ago. It took me 2 minutes. You can now see it. Or if you want to see the fully fledged one, I can take that and put that in there instead. So now either of those, you can go and click on those and see them and see how they work. And remember, I just created that. It just happened. And so let's say I want to take that one that I've just done and put it in PowerPoint. So I just click the PowerPoint ID, and then I can go back to if I come into PowerPoint here, it's really easy to come in and empty sheet. Then I say I'm going to insert. And what am I going to insert? I'm going to insert an add-in. So there's a free add-in in the Microsoft Store. That's I put that link, the ID that I just did there. Hey presto. So that's the one that I just built sitting inside PowerPoint. And it's fully, just grab hold and resize it. It's fully interactive here. So I can move it up and down inside PowerPoint. So I can share it with a web link. I can put it in Teams. I can embed it on my website. I can do sort of any of those things. So an enormous amount of capability there in terms of what you can create and how you can how you can share it with it, whether it be PowerPoint or in a link or anything like that. And if you use Squirrel, you're not going to be Squirrel. What we're doing here is we have sort of amazing interactive content direct from your Excel workbooks. This is not sort of changing your Excel habits, it's building on them. And you can share by PowerPoint, web link, email, collaboration tools. You can embed it in websites. And it also protects your IP. If you've written a specialist spreadsheet that has got specialist knowledge in it, you don't have to distribute the file with it. We protect that by all the people see is the interface. They can't get into the formulas. They can't understand what you've done. And none of this requires VBA or any sort of coding. It really is all just designed to work on your Excel spreadsheet knowledge. And there are many companies that you'll be in good company if you use this. Many companies, large and small around the world, all saying great things about us. Quickly build powerful visualizations, no coding needed. David at USPI built a COVID-19 application in 3 weeks that actually ran 50 facilities around the US. Randy Cairns doing his crucial what-if scenarios. The one I like most is Rob Scott saying, with basic skills, you can create really cool stuff. With advanced spreadsheet skills and some imagination, you can build almost anything. I'm not joking. And some of the stuff that Rob's got a few on his video channel, it's amazing what he's written. So we're going to finish before we go to questions. We're a little over, but today's offer is that you have got a special code by being online here. It's MyExcelOnline is the code. It's tied to John. It's an offer in conjunction with John and his superb website. And what you get today is you can get, with that code, you get a 5% discount if you were to buy Squirrel. That's anything between $20 and $300 annual value. The first 100 people to use this, going back to, and John said 50, we've actually upped it to 100. The first 100 people who use that code to buy Squirrel will get a copy of John's book. And the first 10 people from us will also get 3 one-hour introduction to Squirrel sessions, so you can make the most of the tool and get started most quickly. And to get into it, the way you do that is you come to Get Started, squirrel365.io/get started. You can download a 30-day trial. You don't have to buy anything, no credit card required. Get a trial, get a feel for the product. But as soon as you feel that it's the product for you, use that code to buy it. And if you're in those categories there, everyone gets the discount. First 100 get the book, first 10 get the online consulting. So it's a great offer for those people who are on the call today. So with that, I will pass back to Mark. I'm sure there'll be a number of questions come in, and we can go through those if we have any time left. Thank you.
Donald, John, absolutely fantastic. Lots and lots of questions. We're going to start with you, Donald, as you're still on mic. We've got a question here. Sildo works in the pharma industry and has some clients with very sensitive data. How safe is the data in the models you were showing?
So the data is it depends how you're distributing it. If you distribute it via the Squirrel cloud, it is encrypted into the model and then encrypted when it's stored in our cloud. So it's safe, but some people want to go a step further, and it is possible to take the output on premise, so you can actually manage it on premise so that it never goes. I say if people really are don't want to let it go into a cloud environment, then you can also have the same thing. It's still packaged up. You can't get at the Excel spreadsheet. You can't get at the underlying data except through the front end. But people want to keep the files secure in their own environment, so you can do that as well. So whatever level of security they want, I think we have an answer for it.
Fantastic, great stuff. John, question for you. Todd is curious to why, I think this was tip number 1, the PDF tip, when column headings don't come over as expected when you're importing from PDF.
I think that's a question more about Adobe than me. I don't know. Probably the formatting that you have originally. What you need to do, if you have data and you put into PDF first, make sure if you in Excel, you highlight the data, okay? And then when you go into your page settings, page layout, you can go to print area, set print area. So you highlight that area because you're just saving the document to PDF first of all, and it's taking everything on your page. So if you want to do that, you'll probably need to set the print area, highlight the area you want, set the print area, export to PDF. When you import it to PDF, it'll come in nice and clean. Sometimes it doesn't come in nice and clean, especially when you're using an ERP system like Oracle, PeopleSoft, QuickBooks. It just has different characters, because these accounting software use different characters and it comes in differently. I don't have the right answer why it happens. I'm 95% sure that is why. It's just the characteristics that they're using. So you're going to do a lot of cleaning up. You can use Power Query to do a lot of cleaning up. And then, once you use Power Query, next time you bring in the same document, say from next month's download, all you're going to do is a refresh in Power Query. And then it does all the cleaning up for you and it brings in the documents nice and clean. So you don't have to do all those steps again. That's Power Query. If you don't know that, we have a course within the Academy online course that shows all that stuff. So yeah, that's to answer your question quickly.
That's brilliant. Thanks, John. We apologies, guys. We've run over by about 7 minutes or so. So there are a couple of other questions. I will make sure we get those answered via email.
Let's go. Let's continue. Are we over? People want to stay.
I think we might have lost the people who asked the question. So Norman has asked a question. How many words can you put into comments? I think this was tip number 2.
We're back to me again. How many, tip number 2, how many words can you put into comments? I don't know which.
Or was it? Or could it have been? So I showed a dashboard with some comments on it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Well,
it was when John was presenting.
All right. Not me then.
No.
Oh well.
As many as you like. Quick.
As many as you like. As many as you like. In fact, that's fantastic. Donald, question for you. So I think Rachel had asked if we also if Squirrel supports Google Sheets as well.
It does. If you can get an XLSX out of an XLSX out of Google Sheets, and exactly the same thing is possible as you saw there with Excel. So yes. But
we all love Excel. We all love Excel. Okay, I think that's about it. There probably are a few more, but thank you all so much. The chat has been absolutely fantastic, and I think we got over half of the US states represented, and I lost count about the number of countries across the globe that have been on today. It has been an absolutely fantastic event. Just to reconfirm today's offer, MyExcelOnline is a 5% one-time use code for any subscription of any of the plans on Squirrel365. You can get started for free today, no credit cards for a 30-day trial. The first 100 people who subscribe to to a subscription plan with that code will get John's 101 top tips book sent out to them from Squirrel365, and the first 10 people will get the 3 1-hour introduction to Squirrel sessions worth over $500. I'd like to thank John from MyExcelOnline, who is, as ever, an absolutely fantastic presenter, has got some wonderful tips. My favourite, John, was tip number 6 by far, along with a lot of other people. So that was brilliant. And also Donald from Squirrel365, who did a great job taking John's spreadsheet and delivering a truly interactive web document from it. So thank you all today. The recording will be coming out to you later this afternoon once it's been processed, so you can watch all those top tips again from John at your heart's content. Thanks everyone, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.